that's everyone. We're in recording. I want to thank everybody for tuning in this evening. We deeply appreciate the time you've chosen to spend with us and trust that something we say or do in this LDC will have a positive impact upon you before you leave here tonight. Now, what we are doing tonight, we're not going to do any committee reporting. I've asked Ryan, I understand Councilman Burrows has submitted a plan, and there's a committee meeting on 10/6 and a public hearing on 10/25. I've asked Brian if he would take the time to send all of you those changes, and you can take a look at them. If you wish to testify, you can feel free to do so. If not, but you will have that. But tonight we're going to keep things kind of short and sweet. No committee reporting tonight. We have with us Dr. Coleman, who is the Assistant Superintendent of Operations for Prince George's County Schools. I've been meeting with Dr. Coleman. This has to do with the 2022 schools. As you know, we did 10 schools on last year. And the whole idea is to make certain, one of the things that I discovered talking to principals and those kind of things in the needs assessment, that oftentimes the principals are not involved in the process. So I've been trying to make certain that happens and get them involved in the process. And Dr. Coleman is with us tonight to give us a report on the 10 schools that were approved for last year and how we're progressing with the funding. It's important that we pay attention to how these monies are being used and held accountable for how they're being used. Anybody talking to me? Can you hear me?
Now we can.
I don't know. I didn't know whether it was off or not. But what we have done is, Dr. Patterson, how are you, sir? What we have done is I've been in contact with Dr. Coleman, and what he is doing is reporting tonight on the progress and report with respect to what we approved on last year. 10 schools we approved last year. And I've asked him to come on. This meeting will be short and brief. I've also asked Ryan again, if you didn't hear me, I asked Ryan if he would send out the committee meeting and the hearing. The committee meeting is on 10/16 and the public meeting is on 10/25. If you choose to testify, you can do so on that time frame, but that's as far as we will go with that. And we will move from there. I'm going to give Mr. Coleman, Dr. Coleman, the mic so he can give us a report on the progress of those schools, and we can kind of go from there.
All right, thank you so much, Pastor Robinson, and good evening to you, and good evening to all members of the council. Again, my name is Sharaska Coleman. I have the privilege of serving as Associate Superintendent for Supporting Services with the Prince George's County Public School System. My responsibilities include supporting the effective utilization of video lottery terminal or VLT funds to support the needs of students attending schools within the local impact zone. But that's one of my many responsibilities. I wanted to start off first by thanking Pastor Robinson for his commitment to the effective expenditure of VLT funds to further the educational mission of PGCPS. As he noted, he's been a consistent collaborator with me and members of the PGCPS team to ensure these funds are spent according to the agreed upon plan in support of students. I appreciate his partnership in this worthwhile effort. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Do I have the ability to do so? Can I have the ability to share my screen?
Just a moment.
Thank you. All right, fantastic. It's asking me to update preferences. Hold on. You know what? I may need to come on a different computer. I apologize. It seems like it's not giving me access. So hold on one moment.
Okay, while you're doing that, I saw one request in the chat to know what schools were involved in last year. And let me run those off to you real quick while we are waiting on Dr. Coleman to get up to speed. Benjamin started ADA improvements, Oxon Hill Middle School, ADA improvements, Thurgood Marshall, code corrections, Hillcrest Heights Elementary School, major repairs, Hillcrest Heights Elementary, again, playground equipment, Rose Valley Elementary, playground equipment, Apple Grove, roof replacement, Oxon Hill Middle School was security updates, Hillcrest Heights Elementary security updates, Allenwood Elementary security updates. Those were the 10 schools that we designated funding to on last year. And what Mr. Coleman is doing is giving us an update as to where we are in the progress of those. Some are still waiting on POs, others have been completed, waiting on inspection. But I think it's just important for us to maintain a posture that people know and understand in these public meetings what's going on with this money. So what we're doing is asking Mr. Coleman to, Dr. Coleman to give us an explanation on what's happening. I want to acknowledge you, Mr. Cooper. Glad to have you this evening, sir.
Mr. Middleton, can you give me access on my other device? I'm going to try and share on my other computer, if you would. Okay, can you all see my screen now? All right, fantastic. Okay, so again, I'm here this evening to provide an FY22 video lottery terminal VLT project update. The funding is supporting a range of projects.
I'm trying to get into this meeting. I can't get in.
A range of projects in our local impact schools. So again, I appreciate the opportunity to present in front of you as a representative of the Prince George's County Board of Education and Dr. Golson. So we have projects that run a range of different areas as Pastor Robinson spoke of. I'm going to speak to areas such as playground equipment, security upgrades, Americans with Disabilities Act upgrades, the Crossland High School Career Academy improvements, code corrections and major repairs, as well as roof replacement. So the first area that I'd like to touch upon is with playground equipment. You can see that the funding received for Oxon Hill Elementary School's playground equipment replacement was $100,000. The funds encumbered totaled $153,000. That was what was required to complete the necessary work. You can see a note down at the bottom that, and you'll see this on several of the slides, that we have allocated school district funds beyond what's been allocated from the VLT to ensure that we're meeting the requirements and supporting the needs of students. So you can see that that Oxon Hill Elementary School project is 100% complete. Moving to Rose Valley Elementary School, again, that was also a playground equipment replacement. The funding available from VLT was $80,000. The funding encumbered was $170,000. And again, we utilized non-VLT funds to cover the overage. The project equipment has been ordered. The installation is to be scheduled pending final delivery date of the materials. Security upgrades. And the security upgrades take three different facets. That's what we're doing in each of the schools. Cabling, which includes the installation of cable to support cameras, intercom, door stations, and all of the building infrastructure needed to connect all devices to the Wi-Fi network, and so that they can interface and communicate with one another. The access controls, which allow for remote viewing and recording in and around our school campus, in our common areas, as well as our exterior cameras and exterior areas of the building, and our closed circuit television, or CCTV, which obviously gives us an opportunity to view and record around our area. I meant to say access controls, pardon me. The access controls allow for remote access to the building. That includes our A-phones, our card readers, so that staff can have access and community can have access to the building safely. So we have 3 areas that were funded through the FY22 VLT funds. First is Oxon Hill Middle. You can see that the funding received is $350,000. As Pastor Robinson noted, these are working their way through the purchasing process that has been completed. They are now with our vendor for the ordering of materials, and we're scheduling for installation. I must note that on all 3 of these projects, due to global supply chain issues, it is delaying the process of actual delivery and installation, but we're working with the contract vendor to try to find substitute equipment that still gives us the same level of quality, but at the same time is available for receipt. If you go to Hillcrest Heights Elementary School, you can see that funding received for that project is $170,000. Again, all purchase orders have been issued, and we're working with the vendor around finding available equipment for subsequent installation. Allenwood Elementary School, the funding received is $170,000. The project status, all of the purchase orders have been issued, and the cabling installation is set to begin on September 26th of this month. Americans with Disabilities Act ADA Upgrades. 2 schools are the focus for this part of the work. First, Benjamin Stoddard Middle School, and they're both conveyance system replacements. In this particular case, the conveyance system that we are upgrading are elevators. These are elevator upgrades. So the funding received is $95,000. Funding encumbered, $68,200. The project status, the equipment has been delayed due to global supply chain issues. It is scheduled for delivery and installation by the end of this month, September 30th, 2022. Oxon Hill Middle School, again, this is also a conveyance system, specifically an elevator. $95,000 has been allocated from VLT. $94,900 has been encumbered for this process, and it's the same situation. We are working with the vendor around the global supply chain issues. The equipment is scheduled for delivery and installation by October 31st of 2022. Crossland High School Career Academy improvements. As you know, this is a larger sum of funding. There was $2.16 approximately million allocated from VLT to support this endeavor. Of the funding spent, you can see that we did exceed that amount to the tune of $2.24 million. So we went over by about 80,000, but we saw the need to augment that funding to support the needs of students. So specifically, how was that money utilized? You can see here, Project Lead the Way, Pipeline Initiative was funded. This is where 6 of our feeder schools that feed students to Crossland High School, they have programs that support ultimately the career and technical education program. And so those Project Lead the Way programs were funded with teachers in each of those feeder schools with the eye on having those students matriculate to Crossland. So 6 positions were purchased to support that program. The CTE career specialist position was also funded. That position supports students directly at Crossland High School. New student desks were purchased for the entire Crossland High School community. We built a number of career and technical education labs to support full implementation of each of the unique programs. The carpentry program lab, the electrical lab, plumbing lab, smart lab, which is a very innovative design that allows students to essentially move from a concept to a design phase in their planning, and also a virtual learning lab, which we know based on COVID how important having that in place is. CTE students were also provided learning kits to support their unique path of learning. That included our students enrolled in the barbering program, cosmetology, construction trade, as well as our culinary arts. To support the health and bioscience program, there were replacement nursing beds provided. There were a number of areas where we saw the need for infrastructure upgrades at Crossland. That included internet computer drops installed in not every classroom, but in identified classrooms, a new auditorium projector for the new auditorium that's been constructed on that site, carpet removal and tile installation and painting in multiple classrooms, as well as the library media center. Course corrections and major repairs. That was highlighted in 2 specific schools. First, Thurgood Marshall Middle School, fire alarm replacement. There was $250,000 allocated through VLT. The funding encumbered exceeded that amount by $30,000, so we ended up spending and encumbering $280,000. The project status, the construction has been scheduled for January 2023 and will be completed by June of 2023. Hillcrest Heights had a hot water tank replacement. That funding was $76,000. It was encumbered at $89,000. So again, the overage was covered by non-VLT funds, and that project is 100% complete. Finally, roof replacement. This is going to take place at the cost of the funds that were allocated, I should say that, was $1.468 million. These funds have yet to be encumbered as this project is in the design, build, procurement phase, and will be moving into the construction phase this coming summer 2023. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Are there any questions as a result of the information shared? I did want to share, Pastor Robinson, that I did provide you with a copy of this presentation so that you can share it with members of the council following this meeting in case there are additional questions after they review the figures.
Appreciate it, Dr. Coleman. Do we have any questions, any concerns that you have? As I said, I think it's important for us, and we've been working on this for a while. Funding for last year, we need to account for this money. There are all kinds of concerns about accounting for money.
How about now?
Go ahead, Dr. Patterson.
Yeah, I missed the intro of the guest speaker. Is he with the school system or?
I am Dr. Patterson. My name is Shirasha Coleman.
I can't hear you.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Can't hear you.
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear him. Senator Patterson, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
The problem is on the senator's end. We're gonna have to let him exit and come back in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, while we are doing that, do we have any other questions, any concerns, any?
Am I coming through now?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Dr. Paz?
He needs to connect to audio. He probably didn't do that when he logged in.
Okay. Let me try to call him real quick. And we'll go from there. In the meantime, Ron, you want to run this real quick? If we have any other questions or concerns or comments, we need to know what those are.
Any questions from anyone?
It's a pretty detailed report, so I think questions are no questions here.
Thank you, sir.
Did Obi get back in?
He exited. He'll be coming back in shortly.
Okay. Because he couldn't hear your presentation and I was having him listen through my phone. Okay, so.
He's going out and coming back in.
Yes.
And if he misses it, of course, it's being recorded so he can go back and take a listen, but he's coming back in. In the meantime, Kevin, did I hear you say something?
No, it was only that I was mentioning it was a detailed report, so was no need for questions from my point of view. I think all the information was already in the brief, so good brief, good detailed brief, so I appreciate it.
Okay, if you will, can you send that to Nicole, and what we'll do is get that out to everybody. As you know, we the whole idea of the assessment is determine those needs and then move from there to do the advertisement. If you can send that to Nicole, we can get that out to everybody and we kind of go from there.
Send the presentation, Pastor Robinson.
Say it again, Dr. Coleman.
Send the presentation.
No, Kevin, is that what you were questioning?
No, I was just saying it was the presentation was a good presentation. It was really detailed. So I appreciate it. That's why I don't have any questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
Question for Dr. Coleman. I thought it was great. I'm very inspired that all that work is being done at the schools. I was wondering if are you going to provide status on like the progress once the work starts and like on your website, so we can actually see all the updates in construction.
So yeah, that's an interesting question. What I've asked him, what we've agreed to do is to meet every other month and then move to a quarterly on these repairs. And from that standpoint, in between time, he can just send us a report that we can get to everybody to know what the progress is. That was the plan. I don't know if we need to advertise on the site. That might be a good idea to do, Carrie, but we can talk about that further and get the report up on the site if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'd like to see pictures, visuals of the progress.
Okay, all right.
Duly noted. I'm taking notes of that.
Well, hold on, I see a request in the box here. Let me, Ms. Burden, apologies again if this is a silly question. Ms. Burden, no question is silly. We're just glad that you're with us this evening. Thank you for coming. I'm just new. Do the LDC meetings primarily about funds, or will there be subsequent meetings to cover other projects, for example, the kinds of developments both inside and outside the school system? What we do is we meet monthly on the third Wednesday of every month. The local development council was put together by law and to mitigate the impact that the casino has in the immediate area. That area was 3 miles. We have finally come to a conclusion and made it and expanded it to 6 miles. And it takes into consideration what we do in terms of awarding grants, those kind of things. One of the things that we found when I took over as chair is many of the grants that we were dealing with were kind of coming in and telling us what they wanted to do. I felt that what we needed to do was do a needs assessment and tell them what we want to see. That's the process, and we've had some difficulty getting off the ground with that. We lost 5 members all at the same time due to term limits and that kind of thing, chair, vice chair, and others that made a significant impact on what we're doing. So what we're actually getting off the ground with this, and basically that's what we're doing. I'm glad for your questions and thank you for your comments. Anyone else? All right, Dr. Coleman, are you? Is Mr. Patterson back on? Senator Patterson back on, Ryan? I don't see him.
Me neither.
No, he's not in.
Okay.
Is he trying to get in?
No.
Let me try to. Okay, he's not answering. If he's having difficulty getting in. Ryan, can you send him the link again?
Sure.
Okay, he's not answering. We'll see if he adopts this link, and then we'll move forward. Here he is. He's coming on now. Senator Patterson, can you hear us?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear us?
I see him.
Can you hear Senator Patterson?
Hello?
Carrie, what were you saying he needs to do?
When you log in, it asks you if
Hello?
you connect to the audio.
I connected with the passcode I had.
Then a window will come up and it will say, do you want to connect to?
Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong here then. I didn't see that, so that means now I got to go out and come all the way back in, right? Okay, all right. Is he speaking now? Because I can hear him. Okay. Anybody else having this problem?
Nope.
I can hear you, Obi. Is he from the school system? I do.
I can try to walk him through it.
Can you walk him through me? He got a question
That's okay.
He has
go
to
ahead,
answer.
But I'll call him up and go visit him because I got several questions I'd like to ask him about the CTE program. Okay, okay, all right. Well, he gave a report, didn't he? Okay, okay, all right, okay. Bye.
So what's he gonna do?
There's on the upper left corner, there's a green icon that has like a check mark in it. And if he clicks on that, then there's like I guess a spoke in that window, and it's on the right.
Yeah, he can't hear you, Carrie.
Oh.
I'll update him on what Dr. Coleman is doing, and then he can give him a call to ask the questions that he has.
Okay.
With that said, do we have any other comments or questions from the LDC or from our guests?
I just wanted to say thank you to Pastor Robinson and to the members of the LDC for the opportunity to come before you. I'm extremely excited about this collaboration. Pastor Robinson has been a champion for VLT. I can see that through our collaboration. He's serious about ensuring that principals have input into this process so that we are meeting the needs identified for students with the funds that are available. So even if questions arise in the future, I am available. I am here. As Pastor Robinson has said, we've already made the commitment to stay very closely connected with one another throughout this process. So I'll be providing intermittent reports and then coming back to report to this committee in person. This is our first conversation. It certainly won't be our last time together, and I'm looking forward to it.
I appreciate it, Dr. Coleman. It's been a great effort in working with you and your committees in meeting and getting into some of these schools to see what's going on and what's happening, and to more importantly involve the principals. One of the things that I found in all of the things that you were doing in the schools, the principals weren't involved. I think that's a very important part of the process. And we have done that with these 10 schools and looking forward to whatever the future brings. So we'll see and understand and go from there. But with that in mind, if anyone else, if we have no other questions or if we have any comments from our visitors to the site, this is the opportunity and time to do that. We want to hear from you. It's important that we know what's on your mind so that we can respond accordingly and properly with respect to what this local development council role is, and we can move from there. So do we have any other comments or questions? Mr. Owens, Ms. Baker, anyone else?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Owens.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead, sir.
Hey, good evening, sir. Yeah, it's just Dave Owens from Fort Washington Forward. As I said in the chat, I just thank Dr. Coleman for the report. I know a lot of our members here at Fort Washington Forward, we always are asking these types of questions. And so this report was great, and I'm sure they'll be happy to hear the update. So just really appreciate the report, Dr. Coleman, and look forward to continuing to support you in any which way we can. So thanks a lot. And I appreciate the LDC for inviting us again. So just really appreciate that.
Yes,
always welcome, Mr. Owens. Always welcome, sir. Anyone else? Senator Patterson, can you hear us? He still can't hear us. Mr. Taylor, do you have anything you'd like to add, sir?
No, sir. How's everyone?
Okay. Anyone else, Mr. Cooper, Attorney Cooper, do you have anything you'd like to add, sir? All right, Mr. Baker, Ms. Baker. Vice Chair?
No, sir, I'm fine. Thank you for the report.
Praise God. All right, Kimberly?
No questions from me. Thank you.
All right, Carrie has already spoken up. Takesha? All right, it looks like that's everybody. Rashida, anything else?
Nothing else for me, thank you.
All right, Kevin?
Nothing from me on this particular topic. Are we taking comments on other topics real quick?
Depending on what that is, Kevin, what you speaking?
So I just want to, I know we didn't do committee reports. I just want to let folks know I will send out, I sent it to Ryan, send it out to everyone. I just want folks to take a look at the questions that we're going to need for the survey that's going to go out for the needs assessment. And just trying to look for a final approval on those questions sometime in October. So.
Okay, do me a favor. If you can send that to Nicole, Nicole, push it out to all the LDC, and we can have some discussion on that in our next meeting.
Yep, sounds good. That's the only thing I wanted to mention.
All righty. With that in mind, I will take a motion from Delegate Turner.
I get a chance to speak. I make a motion that we end this wonderful meeting and thank our guests for giving us all of that information. So I make a motion that the meeting will be dismissed.
Do I have
a second?
A second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. Coleman, really appreciate you, sir. Thank you for hanging out with us. This relationship has developed rather warmly and quickly, and we deeply appreciate your expertise and giving us what we need to move forward. Thank you. Looking forward to hearing from you. I don't think we need to meet every month. We can probably go back to the 3 months that we originally talked about rather than every other month, and then you can give us a report in between.
Yes, sir.
With that in mind, if I was at church, I would say all hearts and minds settled and give the benediction. So we thank you for coming this evening. We deeply appreciate it. Ms. Burden, thank you for joining us. We deeply appreciate the time always when we have visitors to come into this environment. Thank you very much. See everybody, Lord willing, next month. So have a good evening.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Goodbye.